here it is. You know I like my girls a little bit older. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. This is one that I try to do on a relatively yearly basis just to kind of check up on my series and kind of talk about what series I'm really focusing on, which ones I'm really interested in, which ones I'm kind of moving away from. Usually I'll try to keep track of the series that I started and finished in a year and go through that as well, but in 2024 I was really bad about that. I didn't even track which books I read in 2024. It was horrible. I was not on top of my game. I'm aware, but 2025 I'm going to do better, and this particular video I'm going to be talking about my priority series for 2025. So of the series that are on my list to prioritize in 2025, 3 of them are series that I have already started and I want to either catch up on or finish. 3 of them are series that I have not started yet, but I want to start and finish in the year 2025. And 2 of them are series that I started and I need to like restart from the beginning in order to either catch up or I need to finish. I will let you know when I get into the individual series. So I have 8 series that are prioritized on there, but I usually make 10 on this list. Sorry, battery died, I had to go change that out. I can't actually remember where I was at, so probably going to edit this a little bit strangely, sorry about that. But I thought it would be a little fun to add a little element of uncertainty and surprise to the choosing of these series that I'm going to be reading. So I had my Patreons give me series they would like me to read, and I put them in this jar and I will draw out, and whichever series I draw will be a series I will prioritize this year. And then I also made all of the series that I own at least one book of that I have not read into my series jar. I did remove the series that I am in the middle of because like those are ones that I don't want to draw out of, right? Like that's for my game, but I just use the same jar. So that is something I'm going to do. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with my Patreon pick. So the very first one that I draw is going to be from the suggestions that came from my Patreons. I'm really excited about this. Some of these series I did not even really know about when they suggested them to me. Some of them are ones that I own. Some of them are ones that I'm excited about. And I just can't wait. I love getting suggestions of things I should read that people think I will like, of people that like actually know my taste. Okay, here's the one we've picked. We have decided. Ooh, what is it? What is it? Kingdom of Grit. Okay, so the Kingdom of Grit series, this was suggested by Noemi. And the ones that I didn't necessarily know the name of the series, I did look them up. So I actually own the first book in the series. I will go grab it. So here is the series. The first book in the series is The Thousand Deaths of Ardor Ben by Tyler Whitesides. I believe that this is an epic high fantasy series that follows a heist, like a thieving gang, and they are hired to do at least one really big heist. In the story, it's fantasy. It looks really epic. I mean, look at this cover. It's absolutely beautiful. I think that the reason I bought this book initially is because of the beautiful cover. Yes. So my husband and I do this thing where we go out and pick books exclusively based on the cover, and this was one that was chosen for that, and I'm really looking forward to it. It is thick. It's quite chunky. I think it is a trilogy though. So yeah, it looks like there are 3 books in the series: The Thousand Deaths of Ardor Ben, The Shattered Realm of Ardor Ben, and The Last Lies of Ardor Ben. Oh, that kind of reminds me of The Lies of Locke Lamora, which is also a heist story. Anyway, I'm really excited to start this one. Thank you so much, Noemi, for suggesting this, because I was really excited about it when I first bought it, and it's kind of one that I've forgotten about a little bit, and I have never heard anyone talk about this series. So I can't wait to jump into it. This is such a great suggestion, and I'm really excited for it. This is going to be awesome. This is now officially a priority series of 2025, my very first one, and I can't wait. This is going to be a good year. So So I am now going to jump into the series that I have chosen myself to prioritize, and then at the end I will draw the series that is kind of like a random draw one that I will read this year. So the first series I'm going to talk about is actually a duology-esque. They're set within the same world, and that is the Roots of Chaos series. I have read Priory of the Orange Tree, and I still need to read A Day of Fallen Night. I absolutely loved Priory of the Orange Tree. It was on my TBR for so long. I finally read it in 2024, loved it as I knew I would, and I still have not continued on with A Day of Fallen Night. This world is really epic. It has a lot going on politics-wise, and there are dragons. It's just a really beautifully written series. I love the intrigue, the characters, finding out all the manipulations that are going on. The magic is very intriguing, and I just can't wait to jump back into this world. I really enjoy Samantha Shannon's writing style, and I have heard that A Day of Fallen Night has even more world building and lore in it, and that's something I absolutely love in fantasy books, so I think I'm going to love it as much or maybe even more than Priory of the Orange Tree, so I definitely need to get to it this year. And sticking with this theme of dragon series, I really want to continue on with the Bound and the Broken series by Ryan Cahill. This is the first book in the series. It is Of Blood and Fire. Here is the title page so you can see it, but this is the Broken Binding Special Edition, and it's the only edition I have of this series, which is why I hold it up. I only own the first book in the series and the first novella as well, but this is a very Aragon-esque feeling book, but for adults. We're set in this world where there used to be these dragon riders that were essentially like the head of the government. They were protectors. They enforced the law, kind of, and they were killed off. And we have a young boy who is brought into this world and is essentially going to be the one that helps to bring these riders back into existence. I very much enjoyed this first book in the series, and also the novella that I read as well called The Fall. I love how this author sets us up with our characters, lets us spend some time with them in their life before the big cataclysmic event that happens that puts us on the path that we'll follow for the rest of the series, right? But we get to really know him and live in his world and get some attachment to these characters, have some emotional investment in them and their lives. I love the magic that we're introduced to here. I like the found family that we're already seeing develop, and I really, really love the epic, classic fantasy feel of this story and this world. It has the quest, it has the different magical races, it has politics, and I just love everything about the series so far. I know people say that it just keeps getting better as it goes, so I can't wait to continue on with the series. I am so excited for it. I don't know how I haven't continued on with it yet, but this is definitely a high priority for 2025. The next series on this list I think might be my only fantasy romance series on this list, but that is what is the actual name of this? The War of Lost Hearts trilogy by Carissa Broadbent. The first one is Daughter of No Worlds, but I don't have it right now. I lent it out to a friend, but we have the second and third books in the series, Children of Fallen Gods and Mother of Death and Dawn. This is a series set in a world where there are people with magical abilities, but they tend to live in this one country or area of the world, and they are trained up to be able to do these magic things, but sometimes these people are kidnapped and sold into slavery, which is legal in other countries within the world, and that is where our main character comes in. She is a slave in this world, but she does have some magical abilities, and she does her best to use those abilities to get herself money so she can buy her freedom. We are in no way shocked that her owner does not want to give her freedom when she earns that, and it turns a little bit messy. She is trying to escape, find someone to teach her how to use her powers, and to use that magic and that power she has gained to be able to help her people who are living in slavery in the country where she was from. There's this really great like mentor relationship that is going on. I love the romance, the very slow build of the romantic relationship in this story. And I like how this author takes time to develop the world and develop like our characters and our emotional attachment to them. And the romance is just almost organically included in this story. And at least in the first book, it's not the main point of the story. It is definitely there, but it is not what the main focus of it is, which is something I really enjoy in fantasy romance series, and it helps me to be more invested because I love the romance and I love character work in books. It's one of my absolute favorite things. So yes, I definitely want to continue on with the series, and I hear people raving about it, saying that it's her best work, so I'm really excited to keep reading this. Plus, I think it is going to be traditionally published sometime this year. These are the indie published versions, but I think the traditional ones will be coming out later this year as well. Now we are jumping into the section of this video about the series that I have not started, but I want to start and finish in 2025. This first one is actually, when I made the list, it counted, but now that I'm filming it, it no longer counts, and you will see in a second. That is the Seven Waters trilogy by Juliette Marillier, and the first one is Daughter of the Forest, and you have Son of the Shadows, and then Child of the Prophecy. The reason it no longer counts is because I have actually read Daughter of the Forest since making this list, but I didn't really want to replace it with a different series, so it's kind of going to be a hybrid one, and just we're going to go with it. This is a series that I think we will be following different characters throughout this series, and it's not going to be going with our same main characters from book one. In book one, we are following a young girl. It's kind of a coming of age story, and we experience her life as she has to go through these very difficult and traumatic trials trying to save her 6 brothers who have been turned into swans. And it is so beautifully written. I think it's very well told. I really liked the main character in the first book, and I don't really know what to expect from the rest of the books in the series because we will be following different characters, and I'm assuming we're on a very different timeline, and I just don't know how it goes together, but I absolutely loved the first book. Again, the writing style was beautiful. It's very character focused. We spent a lot of time just with our characters, getting to know them, getting to know their lives, their wants, like their hopes and their fears and everything they have to go through. And I love that so much in books. I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to continue on with this series. I just am hoping for all the rest of them to be as atmospheric and well written as the first one. Sorry if the angle's a little different or the lighting is different. My camera keeps doing this weird thing where it overheats, and the room is really cold, so I do not know what's causing this. But anyway, back onto the series. The next series that I want to start and finish in 2025 is the Ryeria Revelation series. Sorry, that's going to bug me if they're in the wrong order, but this is by Michael J. Sullivan. It's set in the same world as the Legends of the First Empire series, which I read a couple years ago and absolutely loved. I've heard that the series has an awesome bromance in it, which I'm really excited for. And overall, I just really enjoy Michael J. Sullivan's writing style, his way of telling stories. I do feel that his books are a really good balance between character-focused and plot-focused. He has really interesting worlds. There's always some intriguing politics going on. There's twists, and I like when he dives into the lore of the worlds as well. I think he does a really good job with that. I just really love like his style in general, and this one I've heard amazing things about, particularly the 2 main characters of this, who I think are best friends. It is pretty thick. It's pretty like chunky books here, but I think that they should be pretty fast reads because his Legends of the First Empire series really was. So yeah, can't wait to jump into this. Really excited for this. I've heard so many good things, and I really think I'm gonna love it. I have a really good feeling about this series. This next trilogy, I have been meaning to read for a really long time. I think it kind of already had its moment on BookTube, and people don't seem to talk about it as much anymore, but I am just now getting to it. So if you love it, please talk about it with me while I read it, and that is The Mask of Mirrors, or the Rook and Rose trilogy by M.A. Carrick. This is a writing duo. I actually have at least the first book signed. I don't know if I got all of them signed by one of the authors. which is right there. Super cool. She was at Dragonsteel a couple years back. Sorry, as I'm like walking around talking to you. But this series has been described as kind of a adult Six of Crows in a Venetian setting, which I think sounds extremely intriguing. Our main character, I believe, is trying to like infiltrate the aristocracy by pretending to be part of this noble house, but apparently that noble house is actually not doing so well, so she's kind of almost playing herself. She's a like con artist, and I really don't know too much about the magic in this one, but I've heard that it's not super like set magic. It's more ambiguous magic and doesn't have like set rules around it, which I think is an intriguing concept. I don't see that done in books quite as much anymore, especially in like really like a high adult fantasy that has a really well developed world and stuff. So I can't wait to really see what these authors do with that. And overall, I just think this sounds amazing. I've heard such great things, particularly about the first two books. I think the third one has a little bit of a hit or miss to it, but I just think this is a series I could absolutely love, and I can't wait to jump into it. Plus, the Broken Binding is doing a special edition set of this series, which I am going to be getting. So yeah, I definitely want to read it if I'm going to be having that beautiful special edition set on my bookshelves. So now we're jumping into the section of series where I have read at least one of the books in the series, but I need to start them over in order to reread the series. And the first one I'm going to put on here is the Silent God series by Justin T. Call. The first book in the series is Master of Sorrows. I have read this book 3 times and never got around to the second book. I got this book on release day. I was so excited for it. It's literally like signed by the author. Signed and dated on release day. I didn't even know that was going to happen. It just happened to be like that in the bookstore when I picked it up, which is amazing. And I have never had that happen to me before in my life. So this book holds a special place in my heart, and I cannot wait to read it. And for some reason, I just keep putting it off. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's maybe because I don't know when the next book's coming out in the series and it's supposed to be really long and epic. I don't know what is my problem with this series, but it's going to happen. I actually just reread the first one this month in January, like literally a week ago. And so I will be continuing on with this one I read it in February. It's February. Either in March or April, like it's happening. I'm really looking forward to this. And plus, it's just beautiful. It's a gorgeous book. I need to read it so much. This is an adult high fantasy series where we're following this young boy as he is growing up in a religious school where he has to go through like trials in order to prove himself to move up within their hierarchy. And they go out and they search out these magical objects to bring them back to the school for like protection, because anything magical is seen as evil within their religion. And then we are finding out that like our main character has some magical things going on, right? And there's a lot more to his story, his backstory, than we know about. I like the dive into the lore of the gods in this world and how maybe we're not getting the whole story. Maybe we don't really know everything that is happening because we're only getting the side of the victors, essentially, right? So really excited to jump back into this world. I think that this author could do amazing things with it, and I just need to catch up. This is the only other book that's out in the series right now, so I only have one book to catch up. It's not that bad. I don't know why I just haven't done it. And the final of the series that I've chosen for this is the 5 Warrior Angels trilogy by Brian Lee Durfee. I read the first one, The Forgetting Moon, last year, and I enjoyed it a lot. I really wanted to continue on with the series, and I just wasn't in a headspace to do it because I had so much going on with like school, studying for boards and stuff, that I just didn't prioritize it and put the time in it. And now too much time has passed, and I think I need to reread the first one if I'm going to continue on with this trilogy, just because there is a lot going on with like prophecies and lore and history of this world. There's a lot of characters in here. There's a lot of politics, and there's just a lot going on. And so I think I need to reread it. This is a grimdark fantasy series. It is set in a world where there is a leader of another country that's kind of coming to conquer the other ones in the name of his religion, thinking he is the reincarnation of a religious being from the past. And there is a legend of the different like religious gods returning and being reincarnated, and they believe that that time is now. And so we are following some of the characters that are believed to be these prophesied people that would come. I definitely need to know that lore going into the other books, because I think it's going to be really important, the nuances of it, just from the way that the first book was, and I can't wait. I think that this is going to be such a fun trilogy. I really want to get through it this year. It is just very intriguing. I'm so interested in where we're going with this series, what is going to happen. So I definitely need to reread the first one to have it fresh in my mind for the rest of it. And now we are going to jump into the part where I have no idea what series I'm going to read. And I could be reading any series on my shelves. It could be like Malazan, it could be something simple as a duology, it could be anything. It could be a series that I don't even hardly think about, right? Except for the fact that I made this like list of series, and so now it's on my radar. There are so many in here. Like, I have so many series on here. I'm sure there's some on my shelves that I missed. Ooh, this is so exciting. Okay, I have one. This is a crazy amount of pressure. This could be an insane long series. It could be anything. Oh my gosh. I am so nervous. I am so nervous. Oh, I think it's upside down. What? No. The Magnolia Park series. Yeah, I didn't see this one coming. This one, I didn't expect that to be it, but I will go grab it. Here is the Magnolia Park series. I have 5 books, and I believe that there are only 5 books in this series. I could be wrong, but I think I have them all. First book is Magnolia Parks. This series is written by Jessa Hastings, and these are the UK versions. I do not like the US versions. They were reprinted, and I just really do not like the new covers of them. So I decided to get the UK ones, and I was nervous that they would go out of print, so I just bought them all, which I guess the jar was a little bit nice to me in the sense that I already own the whole series. So it picked one that I at least already own all of them, but these are like chunky romance books. And that's not something I tend to gravitate towards all that much, but for some reason, this series just was one that I was like, you know what? I'm interested. I'm intrigued. I want to read it. So here it is. We're going to be trying it out. I'm really excited about it though, actually, because this is not a series that I probably would have prioritized in 2025 if it hadn't been pulled out of the jar. It's probably one that I wouldn't have even looked at in 2025 if it hadn't come out of the jar. So I will be reading Magnolia Parks in 2025, and I will let you know my thoughts on it, because I think that there is a possibility that I adore or hate this series. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be a wishy-washy in the middle on it. I think if I don't love it, I'm going to hate it. So we'll see how much of this series I read in 2025, because if I don't like it, I will DNF it. Like that is allowed within the drawing of the series rules. But yeah, it's a 5-book series, which is pretty long. And I really don't know what to expect. I don't remember why I initially wanted to buy this series. So I can't tell you exactly what drew me in about it. But here we go. This is the 10th and final series on my series for 2025 list. I have such good series on here. I'm really excited about all of them. Even this one, I'm really excited about it, and I think it's going to be a great year. I have a lot of amazing fantasy on here, and so many series that I already know that I love because I've started them. So I have such high hopes for my reading this year. I think it's going to be one of my best reading years quality-wise, because I'm kind of honing in on some things that I like more. But we shall see. We'll see how it goes. Let me know what series you're planning on reading in 2025, which ones you've already started to prioritize, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.